Jessica reached into her purse and pulled out a small, worn, leather-bound book, a diary. This was Chloe's. I found it when I was helping him pack up her things after she was committed. I didn't read it until a few years ago. I was too scared. But you need to see it. It's all in there. I took the diary. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold it. "You have to get away from him, Sarah," Jessica urged, her eyes pleading. "Tonight. Pack a bag, just the essentials, and go. I have a friend who lives a few hours away. You can stay with her. But you cannot go back to that house and let him know that you know. He is not the man you think he is. He is dangerous." I drove home in a daze, Chloe's diary sitting on the passenger seat like a bomb. The world outside my car window seemed unreal, a movie playing in a foreign language. When I got home, the house was empty. Mark had left a note on the counter. "Went to pick up some groceries for dinner. Be back soon. Love you." The words, "love you," seemed to mock me from the page. With trembling fingers, I opened Chloe's diary. Her handwriting was elegant at first, but as the pages went on, it became a frantic, desperate scrawl. The entries chronicled a descent into hell. October 12th. I told Mark about Michael. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. He was so calm. He held me and said we would get through it. I am so lucky to have such a forgiving husband. November 5th. Mark wants us to spend more time together, to reconnect. It's sweet. He says my friends are a bad influence. Maybe he's right. They never really liked him. December 21st. I feel so confused all the time. Mark says I'm forgetting things he told me. He says I'm being paranoid when I think he's checking my emails. He's probably right. The guilt is making me crazy. February 14th. He locked me in the bedroom today, just for an hour. He said it was for my own good, that I was hysterical and needed to calm down. He smiled when he let me out and gave me flowers. My mind feels like it's full of fog. March 3rd. He is not my husband. He is my jailer. I am a ghost in my own home. I think he wants me to disappear. I think he is succeeding. The last entry was a single, terrifying sentence scrawled across the page. "My name is Chloe. I must not forget my name." I slammed the diary shut, my body convulsing with a mixture of terror and rage. This was my future. This was the life Mark had planned for me. The forgiveness, the care, the concern, it was all a lie. A carefully constructed cage designed to systematically dismantle my sanity until I was as broken and forgotten as Chloe. I heard his car pull into the driveway. Panic, cold and absolute, seized me. I shoved the diary into my purse and ran upstairs. I threw clothes, my passport, and the cash I had in my jewelry box into a duffel bag. My movements were frantic, clumsy. I could hear his footsteps, the jingle of his keys at the front door. He called my name. "Sarah, I'm home." His voice was cheerful, normal, the voice of the man I thought I knew. I slung the bag over my shoulder and ran to the back door, my heart threatening to burst from my chest. I fumbled with the lock, my hands shaking too much. "Sarah, are you upstairs?" His footsteps were on the stairs now, slow and methodical. I finally got the door open and scrambled out into the backyard, just as he appeared at the top of the staircase. Our eyes met for a split second across the house. The calm, loving mask was gone. In its place was a look of cold, possessive fury. It was the face of a monster who had just watched his prized possession escape. I didn't wait. I ran. I vaulted the back fence, tearing my jeans, and sprinted down the street, not daring to look back. I didn't stop running until my lungs burned and my legs gave out. That was 6 months ago. I live in a different state now, under a different name. Jessica helped me disappear. She also, anonymously, sent Chloe's diary to a journalist and a lawyer. There's an investigation now, a slow-moving one. Mark, of course, denies everything. He has painted me as the unstable, ungrateful wife who ran away, unable to live with the guilt of her own infidelity. Some people even believe him. I still have nightmares. I see his face, that placid mask hiding the monster beneath. I wake up thinking I can hear his footsteps outside my door. The fear is a constant companion. But so is something else, freedom. It's a fragile, tentative thing, but it's real. I often think about my confession. I thought telling the truth would set me free one way or another. I never imagined the truth I needed to be freed from wasn't my own, but his. My mistake was a single night of weakness. His was a lifetime of calculated evil, a secret far darker and more unforgivable than a simple betrayal. I cheated, and I was wrong, but he tried to steal my life, my mind, my very self, and that is a sin for which there is no forgiveness. Jessica, ever the instigator, made the introductions and promptly declared she would give us a moment to catch up. The other girls, tipsy and swept up in the drama, followed suit, leaving me alone with the ghost of my past. We talked for what felt like minutes, but must have been over an hour. We glossed over the big things, my engagement, his string of failed bands, and settled into the easy, familiar rhythm we always had. He reminded me of the time we'd spontaneously driven to the coast just to watch the sunrise, of the terrible poems he used to write for me. He was reminding me of the girl I used to be, the one who thrived on impulse and chaos, the girl I had carefully packed away to make room for Mark's sensible, organized world. "He's a good guy, this fiancé of yours?" Leo asked, his voice soft. "He's the best," I said, and I meant it, but my voice lacked conviction. "The best, huh?" He leaned in closer, his scent, whiskey and sandalwood, filling my senses. "Does the best ever make you feel like you can't breathe, like you're so scared of losing him you might just scream?" My breath caught in my throat. He saw right through me. He always could. Soon, my friends were ready to leave. They hugged me, gave me knowing, drunken looks, and piled into a taxi. "Don't do anything I wouldn't do," Jessica yelled out the window. And then it was just us again. The bar was closing. "I should go," I said, but I made no move to stand up. "My place is just a few blocks from here," Leo said, his voice a low murmur. "We could keep talking. For old time's sake." Old time's sake. Just for fun. A little bad. The phrases swirled in my head, a cocktail of justification and desire. This wasn't about betraying Mark, I told myself. This was about saying a proper goodbye to a part of my life, a part of myself, before I closed that door forever. It was a selfish, reckless, and incredibly stupid rationalization. But in that moment, it was all I needed. "Okay," I whispered, "just to talk." His apartment was a cluttered, bohemian space that smelled like him. Old books, guitars, and a half-finished painting on an easel. It was so achingly familiar. We shared a bottle of wine, sitting on his worn velvet couch, our legs occasionally brushing against each other, sending sparks through my body. The talk was easy, nostalgic, and deeply intimate. We were tracing the faded lines of our shared history, and with every memory unearthed, the solid foundation I'd built with Mark seemed to crumble a little more. "I miss this," he confessed, his eyes dark and serious. "I miss you." And then he kissed me. It wasn't gentle or hesitant. It was a desperate, hungry kiss, full of all the words we hadn't said in 5 years. And I kissed him back with a ferocity that scared me. This wasn't a goodbye. This was a relapse. In the hazy aftermath, tangled in his sheets, the gravity of my actions began to seep into my consciousness. This was not a little bad. This was a betrayal of catastrophic proportions. Leo, blissfully unaware of my inner turmoil, was laughing. "We have to commemorate this reunion," he said, grabbing his phone. Before I could protest, he snapped a selfie. It was a messy, intimate photo. Me, hair wild, trying to hide my face in his shoulder. Him grinning triumphantly at the camera. The bare skin of our shoulders visible. "Don't worry," he slurred slightly. "It's just for me. a memory. Panic, cold and sharp, pierced through the wine-fueled haze. "Leo, you have to delete that, please." "Relax, Chloe. It's our secret," he said, kissing my forehead before setting his phone down and pulling me closer. I didn't sleep. I lay there, listening to his steady breathing, the weight of my guilt a physical presence in the room. As soon as the first hint of dawn appeared, I slipped out of his bed, dressed in silence, and left without a word. The walk home in the crisp morning air felt like a walk of shame. I deleted his number, our brief text exchange, everything. I scrubbed my skin raw in the shower, as if I could wash away the scent of him, the memory of his touch, the stain of my betrayal. The wedding day was a surreal nightmare. I moved through it like an automaton, my smile painted on, my vows tasting like ash in my mouth. When I looked at Mark, standing at the altar, his eyes so full of love and trust, a wave of self-loathing so intense it nearly brought me to my knees washed over me. I was a fraud. Our entire marriage was starting on a lie. We flew to Bali for our honeymoon. It was paradise. White sand beaches, turquoise water, luxurious villas. It was supposed to be the most romantic time of our lives. For the first few days, I managed to push the guilt down, to compartmentalize. I threw myself into being the perfect, doting new wife. I was overly affectionate, constantly suggesting activities, filling every moment with noise and motion so I wouldn't have to be alone with my thoughts. Mark, bless his heart, just thought I was happy. On our fifth night, we decided to have a quiet evening in. We ordered room service and planned to look through the photos from the wedding that our friends had been uploading to the shared cloud album Mark had so meticulously set up. He had synced both of our phones to it, a feature he was particularly proud of. "This way, we'll never lose a single memory," he said. He connected his laptop to the large TV in our villa, and suddenly, there we were, larger than life. Photos of me getting my makeup done, of him and his groomsmen laughing, of our first dance. It was a slideshow of a perfect day, a perfect love story. And then I saw it. My blood ran cold. It appeared for only a second before Mark clicked to the next picture, but I saw it. It was a thumbnail nestled between a photo of my grandmother and a picture of us cutting the cake. It was the selfie from Leo's apartment. My heart stopped. The auto-upload. My phone must have synced it to the cloud the moment it connected to Wi-Fi at my apartment that morning, before I'd had the chance to even think about it. I had been so focused on deleting texts that I'd completely forgotten about the photo and the insidious, silent efficiency of the cloud. "Wait," Mark said, his voice calm. He clicked back. The image filled the screen. My messy hair, Leo's triumphant grin, the damning intimacy of the shot. The timestamp in the corner was a death sentence. Saturday, 3:14 a.m. The morning of our wedding. The silence in the room was absolute, broken only by the gentle lapping of waves outside. It stretched for an eternity. Mark didn't move. He just stared at the screen, his face unreadable. I couldn't breathe. My entire world was balanced on the knife's edge of this single terrible moment. Finally, he turned to look at me. There was no rage in his eyes, no shouting. There was just a vast, hollow emptiness that was so much worse. His face, which had been so full of love and adoration just moments before, was a mask of utter devastation. It was the face of a man whose entire world had just been proven a lie. "Mark," I started, my voice a pathetic squeak. "Don't," he said. His voice was quiet, dangerously so. It was a tone I had never heard from him. It was the voice of a stranger. He stood up and walked over to the window, his back to me. "Who is he, Chloe?" "It's no one. It was a mistake. A stupid, drunken mistake," I sobbed, the words tumbling out. "It meant nothing. I love you. It was my bachelorette party, and my friends—" "Stop talking," he commanded, his voice cracking on the last word. "Stop trying to find someone else to blame. Just tell me the truth." I whispered Leo's name. Mark flinched, as if I'd physically struck him. He knew about Leo. I'd told him all about my wild, passionate college love, painting it as a closed chapter, a youthful folly. "I see," he said, his voice flat. He turned around, and the emptiness in his eyes had been replaced by a glacial coldness. "All this time I thought I was building a life with you, a foundation, but it was all built on sand, wasn't it? I was just the safe choice, the sensible option after the hurricane." He knew. He saw everything with a horrifying clarity. My justifications, my secret fears, he laid them all bare. "No, that's not true!" I cried, getting up and trying to approach him. He held up a hand, stopping me in my tracks. "Don't come near me," he said. The words were quiet, but they hit me with the force of a physical blow. "I look at you right now, and I don't even know who you are. The woman I married, she wouldn't do this. She wouldn't lie to my face while I put a ring on her finger. So who are you?" I had no answer. The tears streamed down my face, but they felt like a pointless performance. The damage was done. The trust, the very bedrock of our relationship, had been pulverized. "I'm calling the airline," he said, picking up his phone. "We're leaving in the morning." The flight home was 18 hours of suffocating silence. We sat next to each other, a chasm of unspoken words and shattered promises between us. When we got back to the house, our beautiful new home that we had spent months decorating, he didn't even go inside. The taxi waited as he got his bags from the trunk. "My lawyer will be in touch with you," he said, not looking at me. "He'll arrange a time for me to get the rest of my things. You can stay here until you figure out what you're going to do." And just like that, he was gone. My husband of less than a week was gone. The weeks that followed were a blur of legal paperwork and hollow days. The annulment was quick and clean. Our marriage was erased as if it had never happened. My friends, led by a guilt-ridden Jessica, tried to be there for me, but their pity felt like salt in the wound. This was my mess, my catastrophic, life-altering mistake. One lonely, desperate night, I found Leo on social media. I sent him a message, a pathetic attempt to find some meaning in the wreckage. "You should know, you ruined my life." His reply came a day later. "Don't put that on me, Chloe. You made your choice. I was just a fun night, remember?" He was right. He was just a symptom, a symbol of my own cowardice. I hadn't been choosing between Mark and Leo. I had been choosing between a real, challenging, adult love and the fantasy of a past that no longer existed. I was so afraid of the cage that I didn't realize I was already free. I was the one who had locked the door and thrown away the key. Now I live in a small, sterile apartment on the other side of town. The wedding dress hangs in the back of my closet, a white ghost mocking me. Some days, the silence is so profound it feels like a physical weight pressing down on my chest, reminding me of all that I had and all that I so carelessly destroyed. I had stood at a crossroads, with one path leading to a life of steady, quiet warmth, and the other leading back to a fleeting, familiar fire. In a single night of weakness, for a moment of fun, I chose the fire, and all I have to show for it are the ashes.
How could you do this?